Hi, this is Max with aBlogtoWatch.com, and I want to review my IWC Worldtimer. This is a interesting watch that contains what probably can be considered a very useful complication, in that it includes the time for across the world. The gist of it is as follows. The hands show the time in your local home time, and around the bezel is a CD ring that shows the time in 24 time zones at the same time. And the way it does this is that you can see this white and black part around the bezel is the world time ring, and it actually turns, and if you read for a particular city the number next to it, which is in 24 hours, you pretty much get the time on for that city at that particular time zone. And it works very nicely because it shows the time at any point and it shows the time in all those 24 time zones at the same time, so you never have to have to change it at all. The time will always show. So you do have to set it a little bit and kind of play with it. So I unscrewed the crown. It's an automatic watch, so it has something like 42 hours power reserve. You kind of work with it by pulling the crown in the first position and setting your local time, and you can see the hours jump, so it's fairly easy, as you're traveling, to change your local time. And what's interesting is the hours, as they jump, they actually will change the date. So if you look at the date here, once I'm past 12, it will change the date, and the date changed backward and forward as well. So if you go backward, the date changes again. Now if you notice, the CD ring, or I should say the hours around the CD ring, never changes as I use the crown here in position 1, which allows you to change your home time or your date as you travel. Say for instance you travel from US to Australia or back to the US, then your date will change as you do this. Now you would have already had set the time, the hour CD ring, prior to doing this, so that in a particular local city the time is correct. So I'm in West Coast, so Los Angeles, and right now it's around 9:40 a.m. and you can see that the 9 is near Los Angeles. But let's say if that time was incorrect, then the way I would change it is by pulling on the crown again at that last position and turning it. And as you can see, as I turn backward or forward, the CD ring will move. So let's move it to exactly 9:40, and you can see that Los Angeles now is set to 9:40. And I just need to press it. Now everything is set correctly. And of course, as you would expect, since it's 9:40 here in Los Angeles and New York, you can see that it's getting close to being 1 p.m., so 12:40. And then in London, it's getting to be 18 hours and 40 minutes. Another interesting thing about this watch is that everything, as I mentioned, is done to the crown, so there's no pushers at all, nothing else. And for some cities, such as London, New York, Los Angeles, or any, there is something called daylight saving time. So I think twice a year in the fall and also in the spring, the hours jump forward once or backward. And this can be a real problem because how do you know the time with a world time like this, you have to change it every time. So what IWC did is to have, if you can notice, like say next to Santiago de Chile, a little dot that goes forward from the city. And what that does is it tells you where you should be reading the time when daylight saving times is in action. So right now daylight saving times is not. So the time in London is 18 hours, in Paris it's 19. But when daylight saving times would be in effect, you would have to just read the time from London to be 19, or the time in Denver, say, to be 1 hour further. Instead of 11, it would be 12. So essentially, you, from the dial, can read the DST time. Very, very useful watch. A very useful, I guess, addition, I should say, also to the dial. And you can see the way it's configured is very much like in the IWC Pilot style. It has the same kind of design language that the Big Pilot has, or the Mach 17 that IWC does. This is a new watch for 2012. In terms of the styling, is completely different. It's a big watch. It's 45 millimeters, and log to log, I think it's 55, which makes it, certainly very big. On my wrist, which is 7.25, it kind of fits nicely. I like to wear my watches very tight, so it took a while for it to fit me well, because certainly the alligator is top class and very hard. But once I got it fitted, it kind of works quite nicely. The buckle is also quite nice. It's a very nice watch. I wish it was a little bit more comfortable, probably a little bit smaller, but overall feels very solid. Quite useful complication that I use a lot, because I work with a worldwide team, and it tends to be good to know what time it is. It's in Beijing and in Tokyo, as well as in the East Coast, so it makes it quite useful. Anyways, I have a full review of this watch on aBlogtoWatch.com that should be coming out soon. Look for it, and if you find this video useful, like it on YouTube. Thanks for your time.